You want me to put that on my todger?
This one's wife. Please be my friend. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Like any narcissist, this one's wife doesn't actually have friends. Yes, there might be people that could be seen as holding that position, but from her perspective, subconsciously, they're not friends in the sense as you understand a friend to be, but rather they are there for the use of the narcissist. You're friends with somebody because you enjoy their company. They make you laugh. You care about that individual. You've had many shared experiences. It might be that you speak to one another daily, text message one another each day, see each other maybe once or twice a week. In other instances, there are some friends that you interact with less often, but that doesn't diminish the depth of your friendship. It might be that there was a period of time in your life where you spent a lot of time together, school, university, at work, and for differing reasons, you don't get to see as much of one another, but you pick up where you left off. You have a mutual care for one another. You enjoy one another's company. It's a meaningful exchange of ideas and conversation. You've supported one another through difficult times, and thus your relationship is one where you help one another, but that's driven by your emotional empathy for one another. Your relationship isn't governed by a need to control that person, to draw fuel from them, character traits and residual benefits, which is what drives the relationship between a narcissist and a friend. Thus, for this one's wife, she often assumes somebody that she's only just met is a solid and deep-seated friend. This is magical thinking. It's also a lack of boundary recognition, and it's also done to try and cement the relationship to make that person easy to control. This one's wife looks to be friends with notable and famous people because those are the ones that her narcissism decrees will provide her with the greatest benefit, that she can acquire character traits from these individuals, that she can gain access to networks, possible financial opportunities, freebies, for instance, with VIP access to concerts or getting on somebody's private jet. And therefore, friendship in the world of this one's wife isn't all of the things that I mentioned earlier between two non-narcissists, but it is entirely transactional. It's simply this: what's in it for me? I am only friends with you to the extent that you provide something for me, that you're easy to control, that I get lots of fuel from you, character traits and residual benefits. I'll pick you up and put you down as I see fit, subjecting you to the shelf dynamic, which is something that non-intimate secondary sources are always subjected to by the narcissist. This one's wife is in short supply when it comes to friends. This is because many people recognize that she's a using individual, that she's vacuous and rather unpleasant to be around. Others realize that she's positively toxic and will have been advised, don't bother with her, she'll have an adverse effect upon your popularity. I believe the term is called Markled. Nevertheless, this one's wife is always touting around to draw in a friend in order to make her look better. And apparently, she settled upon none other than Taylor Swift. According to Sarah Tete, writing in the Mirror, this one's wife desperate to be Taylor Swift's friend in a bid to overhaul her image. This one's wife is said to be desperate to be Taylor Swift's friend in a bid to overhaul her image, according to a source. Royal commentator Kinsey Schofield talked about her theory as she joined Patrick Christie's on GBN America. The debate centred around the launch of the Sussex's revamped website when pop superstar Taylor came up. Kinsey said, "This one's wife is desperate to be Taylor's friend." She added, "This one's wife invited Taylor Swift on her podcast by sitting down and writing her a handwritten letter begging her to be on Archetypes." Benign Hoover, done to assert control over Taylor Swift, to try and lay her hands on the residual benefits and character traits by having her on the show. Kinsey went on to suggest that this one's wife would have been inspired by Taylor's presence at the Super Bowl, where she was treated like rock and roll royalty as she cheered on her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. Kinsey said this one's wife would have been watching it all play out and thinking, how do I do that on such a level? Well, rather than necessarily think, how should I do that? She would be thinking, that should be me. I should have that level of popularity. I should have that level of adoration, because after all, I am the amazing this one's wife. The article continues with Kinsey claiming this one's wife attended the Taylor Swift concert in Los Angeles, but she made sure People magazine knew she attended. The expert also suggested this one's wife wants to be like Taylor Swift marketing-wise. Prince Harry and this one's wife hit headlines as a consequence of the rebranding of their website. It then goes on to talk about the website, which is news that we've already heard previously. The suggestion is that she wants to be, and desperately wants to be, friends with Taylor Swift. That would be eminently probable. Being friends with Taylor Swift would enable this one's wife, of course, to receive fuel from her reactions, but that ultimately wouldn't be the main reason that she would be targeting her. She'd be after her because of the character traits and also the massive residual benefits with regard to being seen with somebody who is extremely popular. That she would bask in that reflected glory, that she would want to soak up that popularity of Taylor Swift's to make her look good, to give her access to other people because they are also friends with Taylor, to increase her marketability because she's friends with Taylor. But is this something that Taylor Swift would welcome? Is this something that she would want? Well, interestingly, Sarah Teta then writes the following day, also in the Mirror, Taylor Swift has been accused of sensationally snubbing this one's wife's bold bid to befriend her. This one's wife is said to have written to the You Belong With Me singer a handwritten note to appear on her podcast Archetypes, but it didn't do the trick. Taylor's team politely declined on her behalf, according to the Wall Street Journal. See parts passing. Now reports have emerged claiming that this one's wife remains desperate to be Taylor's friend in a bid to overhaul her image. According to a source, having Taylor on side could only help her popularity. It then repeats what was said earlier on about her being desperate to be friends. But there has been no response to these supposed overtures. It looks like old Bronzeface is once again attempting to cause something to manifest by talking about how she would want to be friends with her and letting that be known through the press. She's expecting, with that magical thinking that she demonstrates, that Taylor Swift is going to look and go, oh, look, this one's wife wants to be friends with me. Do you know what? I've always wanted to be friends with her too. She's magical, special, so empathic. She sits in her authenticity every day, and I really do admire that. In fact, I'm going to make her my support act on my next tour. In fact, she's so brilliant I'll probably write an album with her. Indeed, in actual fact, I'll become the support act to her because she's somebody that impacts on the world so greatly. And then Taylor Swift woke up and thought, what the fuck was all of that? I must have been having some kind of fever dream. The fact is, Taylor Swift is far too savvy to go anywhere near this one's wife. She recognises what this one's wife is and knows that there is nothing to be gained by having anything at all to do with her. Not only that, Taylor Swift recognises the toxicity that comes with this one's wife, and having steered herself into a position of huge popularity, considerable wealth, and international fame, the last thing that someone with the marketing nous and approach that Taylor Swift has exhibited is to then fuck it all up by hanging around with a woman that uses copious amounts of bronzer and gurns like someone mollied off their tits. No, she simply is far too savvy, and of course, as a greater narcissist, would regard any potential friendship with this one's wife as a threat to her own control, which she would basically snub. There is nothing for Taylor Swift to be gaining from any such friendship with this one's wife. It's all going to be one-way traffic. This one's wife is the one that would gain, and Taylor Swift recognises this and is never, ever, ever going to be seen bothering with this one's wife. She recognises what she is and knows the best course of action is to stay well away from her, because not only is she not needed, she's also contrary to her best interests. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.